The ANC welcomes ICASA's ruling against the SABC and warns defiance will harm the broadcaster. The ANC's Western Cape chairperson may be forced to relinquish positions of power over sexual harassment claims. Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Duduzile Ramela.
And I'm Sandy Legangose. Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
And tonight our hashtags are SABC, ANC and Marius Fransman.
The SABC must respect the ANC's charter on the country's media and constitutional laws governing freedom of expression. The governing party has told the media following yesterday's meeting of its National Working Committee. The NWC has welcomed ICASA's ruling that the SABC must retract its policy decision to ban the broadcast of violent protests.
Defiant. We are challenging that ruling so that if we need to go to the Constitutional Court, that is where the matter will end.
But maybe out of order.
Somebody must whisper in the ear of the leadership in the SABC to appreciate that there can't be a bull in a Chinese shop that cannot be tempered by anybody. It can't be.
Following a meeting by the ANC's National Working Committee on Monday, the party has welcomed ICASA's ruling that the SABC must reverse its policy decision to ban the broadcast of violent protests.
When you do that, you are cutting your nose to spite your face. Because you come back to realize much later that what you were proud of displaying your power by being defiant is actually destroying the institution and you as an individual.
The ANC has also confirmed that Communications Minister Faith Mutambi was not present at Monday's meeting, even after she was summoned last week to give her side of the story. Although the ANC downplayed her absence, analysts are questioning if this will really begin to bring the matter to a close. Mutambi has previously defied the governing party's calls to stabilize the SABC.
The critical thing here is that this is really a political question. And the real question we have to say to people is who's supporting this and who is allowing this, you know, and what interest and whose interest does it serve to allow these people to behave in this particular manner.
Strong words from the ANC on the unfolding chaos at the SABC, but action is what will be needed to steady the ship at the public broadcaster. With the municipal ballot only 22 days away, the open and unfiltered dissemination of information will be critical for a free and fair election to take place. Nicolaus Bauer, Johannesburg.
The Supreme Court of Appeal has granted Justice Minister Michael Masutha leave to appeal Janusz Walus's parole application. In March, the North Gauteng High Court ordered that Walus be released within 14 days. Judge Nicoline Janse van Nieuwenhuizen refused Masutha's initial leave to appeal. The minister then petitioned the SCA. The Polish immigrant who killed SACP leader Chris Hani in 1993 will remain in jail until the matter is finalized. Embattled ANC Western Cape chairperson Marius Fransman could soon find himself without a job. That's if the recommendations of the party's Integrity Commission are implemented. It's recommended that he immediately relinquish all politically elected positions he holds. The matter has now been referred to the party's National Disciplinary Committee for a final decision.
Marius Fransman could be on his way out. His fate now lies with the party's National Disciplinary Committee.
The national officials received a report of the Integrity Commission which was tabled for noting to the NWC. The report has recommended that the matter concerning Comrade Marius Fransman be referred to the NCA National Disciplinary Committee, and this has been accepted.
The Commission also recommended that Fransman not be eligible for a nomination as a public representative for 2 years. The findings follow a complaint by 21-year-old Louisa Vainant, who laid charges of sexual harassment against him earlier this year. She says the incident happened during a work trip. Fransman has denied the allegations and issued a scathing attack on the findings. Fransman also says the commission has been used by ANC provincial and national leaders to boot him out of the party, something the provincial leadership denies. The party says it's now focusing all its energies on the upcoming local government elections.
The thing about the ANC is that even this election process is no longer Faiz and Kaya Mehta or Dipoe. It's having a new chief an election chief, which is Lulama. Therefore, any one of us disappearing doesn't affect the smooth running of the election campaign.
Fransman has indicated he intends to challenge the Commission's findings. Bonga Dlulane, Cape Town.
Businesses in the South African border town of Musina are reeling from the effects of Zimbabwe's recently imposed ban on food imports. Many are contemplating closing down after losing customers. Businesses in Musina are largely dependent on Zimbabwean traders.
Well-stocked shelves, but no customers. A dilemma faced by many businesses in Musina.
Since this year started in 2016, we've had a huge drop in revenue. I'd say almost 40% has been dropped. You know, people are not coming through the border as much as they used to.
BJ Runner is one of many entrepreneurs who rely on buyers from Zimbabwe to stay afloat. But Zimbabwe's ban on imports is now threatening the success of this 30-year-old family business.
Biggest thing that concerns me is people not buying, not coming through, and how are we going to pay for the goods that we've bought or taken already? Because everything works on accounts. So you get a 30-day account, and if you don't pay it in the 30 days, then we're going to have to pay fines and stuff to our suppliers, which is not easy.
On the 17th of June, the Zimbabwean government implemented Statutory Instrument 64 of 2016, which restricts Zimbabweans from importing goods from South Africa. The Musina Chamber of Commerce says businesses in Limpopo have collectively lost 100 million rand since the legislation was passed.
I'm not reaching the targets.
Lorraine Matunu was born in Zimbabwe and moved to Musina 20 years ago. She now has 4 businesses, including this restaurant.
Because I'm not able to pay rent, monthly rentals. So the landlord wants the rent, and he has promised that he has to shut down my businesses. So I'm in danger.
She's also worried about her 30 employees.
Because you are not only pay workers, you have to pay some other rates, like water and electricity, maintenance, rent, because I'm renting. No, it's very stressful. I'm very much worried because the effort which I put in establishing all this business was quite a lot. The money which I've invested in all these businesses is quite a lot. Just to leave it like that, it's not easy.
Traders want the international community to pressurize President Robert Mugabe to lift the ban. They say their livelihoods depend on it.
A Cape Town baby is making history as one of the youngest in the world to undergo life-changing surgery. At just 3.5 months old, Neve Barrett underwent a cochlear implant. Now 9 months old, she was diagnosed with profound hearing loss just a month after she was born.
The sound of her own voice is Neve Barrett's favorite thing. But for a long time, it was unknown to her. The infant was just a month old when her parents discovered she was profoundly deaf.
You just go to the sort of worst case scenario and you're thinking, oh my goodness, my child's never going to hear me speak, never going to hear my voice, never going to hear me say I love you or read her stories.
At 3.5 months, she underwent a cochlear implant procedure. The procedure, which lasts for 3 hours each, involved implanting a series of electrodes into her cochlea to give her brain direct access to sound.
It is standard procedure in South Africa for all infants to have access to cochlear implants from 6 months on. What makes Neve unique was that she had her surgery at 3.5 months and she was activated just after 4 months.
Neve can now hear the sound of her toys.
Our expectations were quite low because we were told that some babies don't react, some babies, you know, there'll be very little indication that she's hearing.
The family raised the extra funds needed for the costly procedure and hearing equipment. Additional money raised will now go towards a cochlear implant for another toddler. RT Narsi, Cape Town.
Further afield, several South Africans have been trapped in South Sudan. It's not clear how many are in the country, but officials say they have requested help from the government there. It seems a ceasefire is holding, but it comes after 4 days of heavy fighting. Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's concerned about the situation. The United States, India and Japan are already evacuating diplomatic staff. The United Nations says thousands of people have fled their homes. An international tribunal in The Hague has ruled against Chinese claims to rights in the South China Sea in a case brought by the Philippines. China claims almost all of the South China Sea, including reefs and islands, also claimed by others. The Permanent Court of Arbitration said China's claim has no legal basis. Beijing has rejected the ruling. And 20 people have been killed and dozens more hurt in a head-on collision involving 2 passenger trains in southern Italy. The trains collided on a single track line between the coastal towns of Bari and Barletta. Rescuers set up a field hospital at the scene to help care for the large number of injured.
Time now for all of your social media with Duduzi.
It is indeed. Thank you so much, Sandile. The leader of popular protests in Zimbabwe is set to appear in court tomorrow. Pastor Ivan Mawarire has been charged with inciting public disorder. The leader of the campaign, dubbed This Flag, came out of hiding to report to police this morning. A call for his release is gaining momentum on social media, with some calling him the voice of the destitute. Activists and civil servants called for a one-day shutdown last week, resulting in the biggest strike in Zimbabwe since 2005. We end with this. Suspended SABC Chief Executive Frans Matlala has reportedly reached an 18 million rand settlement with the public broadcaster. Matlala was suspended a few months into his 5-year contract. Reasons of his suspension remain unclear. However, it's believed it was because he was helping National Treasury to investigate a controversial SABC procurement deal for a TV studio. Remember, we do love to hear from you. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct, or you can head on over to our website. That's eNCA.com/direct. After the break, your business news as well as your weather. Money matters now. Anglo-American Platinum, due to go into wage negotiations with worker unions this week, says it will report profit losses of between 50 and 70%. This after inventory gains were not repeated in 2015 and the dollar price for commodities it produces declined. Last year, Amplats had a 1.6 billion rand gain after its annual metal inventory count, less than the 424 million rand increase for this year. Amplats and other key players like Impala Platinum have sold off mines to stave off losses. In the first quarter of 2016, mining contributed negatively to the country's gross domestic product. And with that, let's see how the markets performed today. Let's check in with the Weather Center.
Hello again everyone and welcome back to the Weather Centre. As expected, a weak cold front brushed along the south coast of the country during the course of today, and behind it a bit of moisture pushed in, brought in cloud cover to the area, as well as a few drops of rainfall from the Overberg all the way through to Port Elizabeth later on. It was quite a bit cooler across these areas this afternoon. Heading into tomorrow, and for KwaZulu-Natal, it will be mostly clear and dry, partly cloudy for Richards Bay, and north of that along the coastline there will be a possibility for a bit of light rain early in the day. For the Eastern Cape, sunny weather expected for your Wednesday afternoon. It's going to be a warmer day along the coastal areas, 21 for Port Elizabeth, Port Alfred, as well as into East London. A much warmer day lies ahead for the Western Cape. Temperatures get into the mid-20s all across the province. It's going to be dry for this region, and sunshine continues for the Northern Cape. Not much changing for the area. 17 for Sutherland, but Uppington gets to a high of 26. For the Free State, not much changing either in this area. Pretoria, 20 degrees for Bloemfontein, while Welkom gets to a maximum of 21. And the northwest can expect another dry day with lots of sunshine in the afternoon, and temperatures will be in the lower single digits for most areas in the morning. Into Limpopo, and it will once again be partly cloudy for the Lowveld, which will be warmest, while over the central parts, Polokwane will be chilly with a high of 19. And moving across the border into Mpumalanga, where it's going to be a mostly cloudy day in Skukuza with a maximum temperature of 26 degrees, while we'll see temperatures below 20 all across the Highveld. And finally into Gauteng, it is going to be a slightly cooler day for the province. Johannesburg, you're not expected to reach 20, but Pretoria will get just a little bit higher than that with a high of 21. Moving ahead to Thursday, and here we can see it's going to be dry for all of South Africa, although in the evening a bit of light rain will be moving in towards Cape Town, and that rain spreads along the south coast with the passage of a cold front on Friday, while up on the Highvelds it's going to be dry and mild once again.
Thank you. After the break, the art of legendary French painter Henri Matisse is exhibited in the first solo exhibition in Africa. Welcome back. An historic exhibition of legendary French painter Henri Matisse's works opens tomorrow in Johannesburg.
Yep, the Standard Bank Gallery will showcase the modernist work in the first solo exhibition in Africa. During the early 1900s, traditional African sculpture influenced many artists, including Matisse and Picasso.
They were fascinated by the unique approach to abstraction of the human figure in African sculpture. The 80 works on show include paintings, drawings, prints, and sculptures.
The exhibition, which runs until the 17th of September, will include an educational program, and entrance is free.
I just think that this is something that everyone needs to experience and enjoy, and as part of Standard Bank's art sponsorship program, we really want to bring it to everybody. It's part of the curriculum of the secondary schools program, and I think that's really, really nice, so people can come and actually have it brought to life and learn a bit more about the artist.
A reminder of the day's top stories before we say goodbye. The ANC welcomes ICASA's ruling against the SABC and warns defiance will harm the broadcaster. The ANC's Western Cape chairperson may be forced to relinquish positions of power over sexual harassment claims. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
Yep, Rhythm City's up next. We're back same time tomorrow.
We do love to hear from you. You can send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or, of course, you can just talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, and the handle that you need is @eNewsDirect.
Until tomorrow night, have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.